So good morning, everybody. Welcome to this set of presentations, Securing Water for Food, Pitch and Picture. We are excited to have you. We're thankful to the organizers of Amsterdam International Water Week and our host and partner, the Foreign Ministry of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, for their thanks and welcome and great invitation today. We hope that you will enjoy the next hour and 20 minutes, during which we hope that you'll be able to hear some of our exciting presenters, some of the innovations that we have, and some of the great success that we've been able to have in this first year and a half of our program. So I'm going to first introduce our speakers from our official dignitaries, from the last to the first. Christian Holmes is Global Water Coordinator for USAID, and he oversees all water programming, both water, sanitation, hygiene related, and water for food and water and agriculture programming, which is over a $500 million budget. In addition, we have Kirsten Johnson-Cease, head of the Unit of Global Economy at the Environment at SIDA, the Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency. She holds a PhD in agroforestry from the Swedish University of Agricultural Sciences and spent 11 years in West Africa with a special interest in the Sahelian region. And first up will be Reina Baus, Deputy Director for International Cooperation at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. She has an educational background in health and nutrition from the public health from Wageningen University, and she also has lived and worked in Nicaragua, Zimbabwe, Ecuador, and most recently she was ambassador of the Netherlands in Nicaragua.
Good morning. I'm very pleased to welcome you on behalf of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the US Agency of International Development, and the Swedish Agency for International Development at our workshop Securing Water for Food Innovation, Pitch and Picture. USAID, Sweden and the Netherlands have launched the Securing Water for Food Challenge in 2013 to identify and accelerate innovation to improve water efficiency in the food chain and alleviate poverty. I'm happy that you all are here to learn about some of the latest water efficiency innovations, which are crucial for circular economy and resilient cities, the theme of the Amsterdam International Water Week. And we are here to meet the winners of this year. These new winners join a larger group of innovators who were previously awarded. The World Economic Forum identified water as the #1 threat for the world economy in 2015. The demand for water is growing fast because of economic growth, population growth, changing diets, and urbanization. By 2050, global water demand is expected to increase by 55%. Yet, as we all know, the amount of fresh water will remain the same. Countries in North Africa and Middle East and in other parts of the world are depleting their water reserves. Water scarcity has been identified as one of the root causes of conflict and migration in the Middle East. Cities in Latin America and Asia are bringing their water resources from ever-increasing distances. 70% of global water consumption occurs in agriculture. This is where an increase in water productivity can have the largest impact. If we want our cities to become resilient with sustainable access to food supplies, water efficiency in our food chains need to be drastically improved. This is an urgent agenda. We need to act fast. Innovations can initiate changes in agricultural water efficiency on the farmer's field. They can also change water use in a whole food system. Innovation can help produce more crop per drop, or they can instigate the reuse of water in food production and processing. They can foster storage of water in times of abundance for later use, or seek different food business models minimizing water use. They may even add fresh water resources by making saline water usable for food. Game changers need to be identified and tested. And if they turn out to be successful, they need to be accelerated and scaled up. There is no time to lose. In 4 weeks, the Paris Climate Summit will start, at a time when almost every day new rainfall or storm records are announced in the news. Climate change, in combination with growing cities and changing diets, increases the pressure on water resources and makes it even more urgent to develop resilient food systems. The political and media attention for climate change stimulates awareness for natural capital-friendly businesses and demand to innovative approaches. It also encourages people to think out of the box. Water efficiency gains for food can be found through innovations in all kinds of different sectors, not only in the water or agriculture sectors, but also in social media, financial systems, technical designs, or cooperation models. And indeed, some of the more innovative proposals we got can't be tied to one sector. There are plenty of good ideas and cutting-edge innovations around. In every part of the world, people come up with innovations and innovative ideas. In the Securing Water for Food Challenge, we were not looking for innovations at the Eureka stage, Innovation 1.0, so to say. We looked for innovations that have already been piloted and for which there is a proven demand. Yet I dare say that for such a global and complex problem, water for food, and in countries where the enabling environment is less conducive, innovations at stage 2.0 may not easily be brought to scale either. Therefore, what we looked for are innovation 3.0, where social and environmental impact is combined with proper business models. We sought NGO applicants working on inclusive green development, which are progressively looking for sustainable financing models or have private business as a partner. And we identified private sector innovators who realized that natural capital is eroding. As food producers and processors, they will need to secure their resource base and consider water as an element of their core business. Inclusiveness may be another important asset for them, as 80% of world food is produced by smallholder farmers, of which 70% are women. Water efficiency innovations geared towards these groups can have a promising market. This links nicely with the global goals, which have defined the international development agenda for the coming 15 years. In several of these global goals, the world has agreed to economize water resources in economic sectors, such as in food production, Goal 2, sustainable production and consumption, Goal 12, and across all other sectors, Goal 6. And it links the focus of the Dutch government to combine aid and trade. The private sector is playing an increasingly important role in necessary investments, from which vulnerable groups can profit as well. Partnerships are key to Innovations 3.0. The Securing Water for Food innovators need partners that bring in different expertise and networks. That's why private businesses seek collaboration with NGO, or southern and northern partners work together. This is added value. And this brings me to the first important announcement in this workshop. We were thrilled to note the enormous interest in the Challenge program. 450 proposals this year, 520 applications last year, from all countries in the world, from Latin America to East Asia. Many great ideas, from drought-resistant symbiotic bacteria to providing farmers with high-quality weather data to improve crop management. And I have the honor, and I'm very pleased, to announce the winners of 2015. They are the Water Governance Institute, which will promote commercial aquaponics farming among smallholder farmers and households for water efficiency, food security and livelihoods improvements in Uganda. The second one, Istituto per la Cooperazione Universitaria, which will improve water efficiency and vegetable production through the implementation of an irrigation scheduling system in Peru. Then third, Conservation South Africa. Eco-ranges and meat naturally, securing water for life in South Africa and beyond. The next one, Sea Technologies, new SIL for reduced water use in agriculture in India and South Africa. Next is CSDES, which is called M-Fodder, less water for more fodder in Kenya and beyond. Then the Center for Environment Concerns. They will work on the world's first moisture control system at root zone level in India and Ethiopia. Then we have Green Heat Uganda. They aim at reducing anaerobic digestion water demand with slurry separation technology in Uganda. Then again, the Istituto per la Cooperazione Universitaria, the Buried Diffuser, an underground water-saving irrigation system in Tunisia. Again, Istituto per la Cooperazione Universitaria, the Croasis water box in Jordan. I think, yes, that's the right one. Then we have Ignatia AB, critical business intelligence for water efficiency in Ivory Coast, Ghana and beyond. Then we have Islamic Relief Kenya, increasing agro-pastoral and pastoral incomes through production of high-value fruits and vegetables using agro-solar irrigation technology in Kenya. And the last one, Mita, water pads, enabling low-cost mobile water buffering in Turkey. Please, a big round of applause for the 12 winners working in 20 countries. Later you will hear their amazing stories, and along with those of previous Securing Water for Food award winners. Thank you very much, and I hand over to Kirsten from SIDA. Thank you.
Thank you, Raina, and good morning, everyone. I'm delighted to have the opportunity to speak here today and to welcome you all to this important event. This event highlights the enormous risks of water scarcity related to food security, but also presents solutions that can show the way forward. I would like to give a special welcome to our teams present, who soon will excite us with their presentations of innovations to address these issues. Today, agriculture accounts for 70% of the world's freshwater withdrawal, and food demand is expected to more than double by 2050. Efficient use of water in food production is not only necessary to ensure food security, but can also contribute to achieving health and energy objectives, particularly benefiting poor and vulnerable groups. Water is an important part of the global goals and Agenda 2030, which we also heard about in the former presentation. SIDA, the Swedish Development Corporation, together with other development actors, are exploring new effective ways to reach these goals, which is very challenging. The Securing Water for Food Grand Challenge for Development is one of those new ways where founding partners leverage financial and technical resources from the private sector to come up with solutions that can make more water available for agriculture and that benefit poor people. Through this effort, we aim to catalyze change and help agriculture producers use water more efficiently, uncover innovative water solutions, and tap into saline water resources. And one main priority within the Swedish Development Corporation is women's role in development and the gender issues. And on a global scale, women produce more than half of all the food that is grown, and in sub-Saharan Africa, they produce up to 80% of all basic foodstuffs. Thus, integrating a gender perspective in the design and the implementation of innovations related to water in the food value chain is crucial for effective new solutions. To achieve results and to achieve effective results, we believe in harnessing the local knowledge. SIDA considers supporting locally rooted innovations that contribute to efficient water resource management in agriculture and food production, key to reduce poverty and achieve sustainable development. So today we have 10 teams here ready to present their solutions to these issues addressed today. I would now like to warmly welcome them on stage, and I read Real Gardening, Practical Action, Initia AB, World Hope International, University of Texas at El Paso Center for Inland Desalination Systems, Islamic Relief Kenya with Sun Culture, Water Governance Institute, Institute for University Cooperation Tunisia, Akista, and Adaptive Symbiotic Technologies. Those are the 10. Warmly welcome, and we are so excited. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Kate. I'm here from South Africa today. I'm here to talk to you about Real Gardening. Real Gardening is a biodegradable seed tape that enables anyone from the under-resourced subsistence farmer to the affluent urban grower to grow high-quality vegetables more easily, more efficiently, and with significantly less water. Real Gardening is a simple, intuitive product that makes gardening fun, easy, and enjoyable again. The company began operating in 2010. In the past year, we manufactured 360 kilometers of seed tape. That is enough to produce 380,000 kilograms of vegetables and supply 7,000 people with the daily recommended allowance of vegetables. In the past year alone, Unilever purchased 140,000 Real Gardening gardens. We had a 34% net profit in our last financial year. Real Gardening has grown substantially over the last 5 years in size, reach, and stability. Real Gardening is a biodegradable seed tape that holds seeds at the correct distance apart and anchors them at the correct depth in the soil for optimum germination. The tape is made using a biodegradable paper and a vegetable starch ink, which will break down, adding extra organic matter to the soil. The seed is all top quality, non-GMO seed from the leading 2 seed suppliers in South Africa. All you need to do is make a furrow in the soil, bury the seed tape so that the white part is buried and the colored bit is sticking up out of the top. That will hold your seeds at the correct distance apart and anchor them at the correct depth for the vegetable variety. Birds and insects can't eat the seeds out of the soil. The seeds are protected from UV rays and drastic fluctuations in temperature. The seed tape indicates exactly where your seeds are going to germinate, allowing for extremely easy weeding and localized watering, the secret behind our substantial water saving. Real gardening uses 80% less water than traditional gardening methods in the germination phase. In parts of South Africa, as in many developing countries, water is scarce and needs to be collected manually. This makes it an incredibly valuable resource that people are not willing to pour on a bare patch of earth in the hope that some seeds will grow. Real gardening allows these people to grow high-quality vegetables where they wouldn't have been willing to try before. Real gardening currently has two very well-developed paths to market and a third less developed path, the growth of which will allow a sustainable cycle of customer retention. Our first path is our corporate branding channel, which sees us moving seed through cause-related marketing campaigns, in-store promotions, and corporate social investment products. Corporates are able to actually brand the seed tape with their branding and their message. We are able to introduce our product to a myriad of potential customers using this channel. Our second channel is an on-the-ground distribution network, which we've been able to develop using our Securing Water for Food funding. This enables us to introduce the product to a lower income market at the same time as meeting that demand locally. Thirdly, we have our retail channel, which is currently targeting predominantly upper income market groups. This channel, however, only accounts for about 10% of our sales and is only in South Africa. We are now developing our retail model and are now looking for partners who can enable us to reach a retail market in new markets and enable us to scale within our existing market in South Africa. Thank you.
I'm greatly inspired by the quote of President John F. Kennedy. Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you, practical action, innovation, sandbar cropping, how sand is producing food for the poor, and how sand is transforming life of the poor and benefiting millions in the food processing production chain right now in Bangladesh. So the innovation started early 2005 with the objective something is better than nothing, and from a madness of my team and myself. And 2015, I can conclude it. It is now hope for millions living on the edge of mighty rivers in Bangladesh, and also started cross-boundary replication in Nepal, India, and other parts. And hope this innovation can benefit many other peoples living in food insecure area. As you know, 800 million people go to bed empty stomach. So this is the innovation for future. They can benefit millions in this world now and in future. With the SWAP funding, we have initiated testing water efficiency and market-based approach. And what we are targeting commercialization, water efficiency, value addition, credit linkage, and fair trade opportunity to benefit people, those who are doing on the ground. What are the value proposition of this innovation? As you know, Bangladesh is land of water like Netherlands. We have huge water. We have underutilized labor force on the ground. And the product has high level of market demand, wider replication potential, a scope to meet food security for now and in the future. As you know, flooding, land erosion, and drought is consequencing people high degree of social marginalization, food insecurity, employment, income, access to resources and finance, and lack of institutional support for their betterment of life. What actually we need from the audience and global participants, we need just three things: transforming barren land access to operational access, testing efficiency for higher application, private sector engagement, and wider application to benefit global audience in the process of development. And finally, I would like to say this is just a start of our innovation. Promise to keep, dreams to fulfill, still we have long way to go. Please extend your hand, come and join with us to benefit people, those who are suffering from hunger and food insecurity. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Cindy Laird, and I'm the Operations Manager at Ignitia. So there are nearly 3 billion people who live in the tropics today, and 80% of those are small-scale farmers surviving on less than $2 a day. Their lives are made difficult by the fact that every stage of the farming cycle is dependent on the weather, and which, due to climate change, is often erratic. Until now, they've not had access to reliable weather forecasts that we take for granted. And this is because the weather works very differently in the tropical belt around the equator. Rather than the current models that are appropriate for the northern and southern hemispheres, tropical weather works on a convective process. And it's a much smaller scale and appears to manifest out of thin air within 30 minutes. And it's not unusual for weather to be different on one side of a village and not the other. To solve this problem, Ignitia has created a unique algorithm that makes our forecasts twice as accurate as any other provider. Our forecasts are GPS specific, but more importantly, we've worked out how to get them into the hands of those that need them most. We send farmers a 2-day text message every single day. The message is in very simple English, so even illiterate farmers can understand word recognition. So if they see the word rain in a forecast, they know it's more likely to rain than not. If they don't see the word rain, then it won't. So the messages are easy to understand and easy to use. But more importantly, they only cost them 3 cents a day. That's less than the price of a glass of water. By receiving this information on a daily basis, farmers are now able to make smart farming decisions. They can minimize the use of expensive inputs, save valuable water resource, protect the environment, but ultimately increase their profits and yields. Ignitia has the potential to reach 120 million farmers in West Africa alone. And the next few years, we would like to expand to the rest of the tropics. And we would like your help to do so. So if you are a large agricultural company, a telecoms provider, or an investor in the tropics, please get in touch with me after the presentation. We can't change the weather, but we can change what farmers do with it. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Allison Paget, and I'm the Program Director for the Greenhouses Revolutionizing Output Program at World Hope International. In order to introduce you to our affordable greenhouse technology, I'd like you to meet a farmer named Artur in the picture there. Artur is a farmer in Mozambique, and in his long experience farming in Mozambique, he's discovered a few things about seeds there. When they're planted outside, they only germinate at a rate of about 25%. A full 75% of the seeds never become seedlings. If you're a large commercial farmer, you can overcome that by importing seedlings from South Africa. If you're a small-scale farmer like Artur and his neighbors, you don't have those options. And so you need a better way to grow seedlings from Mozambique. Well, Artur has discovered that in our affordable greenhouses, the seedlings germinate at a rate of 95%. So what he's doing is starting them in the greenhouses, planting them in his fields, and then also selling seedlings to his neighbors. So not only is he improving his own livelihood and running a business, but he's also improving the livelihoods of his neighbors as well. So what is so great about the affordable greenhouses? They were developed by Penn State University in the States with farmers like Artur specifically in mind. They're affordable, costing between $400 and $600 to build on site. They are durable, lasting up to 5 years or even longer. They are expandable. If Artur wants to add a third or a fourth greenhouse module to his greenhouses, he can do so in just a few days very easily. And he might want to think about doing that because the seed seller in his region has seen what Artur is doing and has just placed an order for 8 greenhouses. So he's about to get some competition. So while Artur and the seed seller will be selling seedlings, we've had farmers that have great experience using these greenhouses to grow vegetables all the way to harvest. So they're finding they can double or triple their yields without using any additional water. So short growing times, dense plant spacing, less water loss through evaporation, all these reasons are really helping to increase their productivity. So we're selling these greenhouses on a cost recovery basis. We give training, we give plant materials, inputs, And then we provide ongoing extension services if they need them. We even link them up with buyers if that's something they need help with. And there's no upfront cost. They pay us back within 2 years. Most find that they're going to be paying them back quicker than that because the ROI is really closer to about a year with our vegetable farmers. We're in Mozambique, Sierra Leone, and Zambia. We're also in Kenya. We're looking for help for people who want to help be involved in distribution. If you want to try a grow greenhouse in your program somewhere, or if you have expertise in how to train farmers to better grow vegetables, we're always looking for extra help so that farmers like our tour can increase their yields even more. So if any of these sound like something you want to do, please contact me. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. My name is Melinda Capel, and I represent the University of Texas at El Paso's Center for Inland Desalination Systems. That's quite a mouthful, but today I want to talk to you about a technology I've personally been working with since 2007. It is called zero discharge desalination. Zero discharge desalination is one of the few technologies that is able to maximize your water production, minimize your liquid waste volume, and we can also recover useful byproducts. 20% of this world is experiencing physical water security, and there's another 25% that is experiencing economic water security. This is a location where water does exist, but there is not the economic capacity to capture, treat, and distribute this water. Honduras is a striking example of this. In part of the country, they've seen a decrease of about 70% in their crop production. In other parts, wells are going brackish because of seawater intrusion or because of other factors. Desalination can be one of the tools to produce new water for farmers. However, conventional technology is limited to 70 to 75% recovery in general. That means there's a large volume of liquid salty stream that must be disposed of. With ZDD, we can increase the yield by up to about 33%, and we can produce solid or useful liquid products that we need within the system. Zero discharge desalination is a commercially available and viable process. It's a hybrid membrane process where we use reverse osmosis to produce drinking water and irrigation water, and the waste from that goes to another process called electrodialysis metathesis, or EDM. The EDM acts as a kidney in that it removes salts from the system that are troublesome to the reverse osmosis process. The product from the EDM is sent back to the beginning of the stream for additional processing and increases the recovery. The waste from this system is then used to recover useful products. The biggest one that we can produce for farmers is gypsum, or a mixed calcium product, which can be added to farm soil to increase their crop yield. The other part is sodium chloride, which we need within the system. Our goal is to transfer our research and development activities into new water for farmers. We are partnering with a local university in Tegucigalpa called UPI to demonstrate ZDD for rural applications. We will demonstrate the entire process from brackish water to fresh water, and also salt recovery. We are looking for strategic industry partners, so if you're a membrane designer or if you work in Latin America producing either photovoltaic systems or water treatment systems, we would love to work with you. We are going to start in Honduras. We want to move through the rest of Latin America and move to other places. So if you know of areas that have high calcium content and you would like to try a ZDD system, please contact me afterward. And we are also, of course, looking for funding to move beyond this initial stage. Thank you very much.
Good morning. I'm Eliud Wakwabubi. I'm representing Islamic Relief Kenya and Sun Culture Kenya Limited. Climate change and rapid increase in population has drastically reduced the resilience of pastoralist communities and also limited their livelihood options. It is in this regard that Islamic Relief Kenya has partnered with Sun Culture Limited to increase the incomes of agro-pastoralist and pastoralist communities through production of high-value crops using agrosolar irrigation kit. This technology combines the proven solar water pumping solution with the cost-effective drip irrigation. We would like this technology to deliver water directly to crop roots so as to increase the yield by 300% and reduce water consumption by 80%. So exactly what we want to achieve is what you see in the picture and in the photo there. And if we can transform a pastoral communities to become farmers of high-value crops, it will be a great success for us. Through this award, we are looking forward to getting partners to help us scale up to more than 3,000 farmers that we are looking to target. And we also want to refine our business model. From our own assessment, we are likely to increase the incomes of agropastoralist farmers to over millions of dollars. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Henry Bazira, and I'm the Executive Director of Water Governance Institute based in Uganda. The technology we're promoting is aquaponics. Aquaponics is a synonym for aquaculture and hydroponics. And the idea is an integrated closed-looped water recycling system that involves fish grown in a tank and vegetables that are grown on a tray that are above the water tank. And the technology has the capacity to recycle the 800 the basic size is about 1 cubic meter, so that's about 800 liters of water, and that can be recycled over a period of about 30 to 40 times. And the technology was based on a pilot that we undertook in the country at one of the sites, and based on the information we were getting from students who came to look at the technology, they advised us, why don't you scale up this pilot project and bring it forward? The lady you see there is one of our pilot ladies, and I think you can see she's recycling part of the water. The idea of this is that you are able to produce between 80 to 100 fishes in a nutshell when the system is not aided, and if it is aided with a circular pump, it can produce up to 200 fish in that 800 liters of water. That's the technology we think, and the reason why we're focusing on that is that it is multi-pronged. We would like to address the issue of poverty in households, issues of nutrient deficiency, because the products that are coming out of that are premium products, oftentimes very difficult for many households to afford. And so we're hoping we shall end poverty with this kind of approach. It has the potential to add to the stock of fish, because currently our fish stocks are being declined because of too much consumption from the country and also export. So we think this will be a contribution to the fish stock and horticultural products that are being produced at country level. The lady there is actually growing strawberries, and the fish is using tilapia fish, because that is commonly grown found in our area. So this has the potential to catch fire. You will realize that many businesses that have succeeded in the world are those businesses that have provided a service to the people, and not businesses that have sought services from the people. So please join us in this effort to end poverty. And what we need in this place is investment both from public and private funds to upscale the business beyond the 4 project districts that we have included in the design, and to help us encourage project buy-in from the farmers and households. So join us to cause a wave out of a ripple. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Barbara Cosentino, and I'm HQ officer of ICU, Istituto per la Cooperazione Universitaria. ICU is an Italian NGO based in Tunisia since 2013, and there we had the opportunity to meet on the field Dr. Chaabani. Dr. Charabani is the inventor of the berry diffuser, this innovation that I'm going to explain to you in a while. But first of all, I would like to tell you how Dr. Charabani had the idea to develop this product. Actually, his grandfather used to bury a clay jar under the soil in order to make the water to diffuse slowly to the roots of the plant. So he had this idea, and he developed this berry diffuser. You have just to connect this to a drip irrigation system, and here there is a water flow regulator that you can use to deliver water from 2 liters until 80 liters per hour. Then the water comes directly into the pipe, and then there is the diffusing part. So you need to bury the berry diffuser at 50 centimeters under the subsoil surface, and when the water is coming to the diffusing part, it will be diffused thanks to the 5 millimeters of siliceous grains that are inside. So what are the benefits of this innovation? Basically, you are going to save 30% of water compared to a drip irrigation conventional system. You can save fertilizer because it's going directly to the roots of the plant, and there is no evaporation at all because it's completely buried. And in the picture, you can see once it's buried, you will have just the water flow regulator and the drip irrigation connection. Moreover, if it's connected with the water tank, you can just use the gravity for the irrigation, so you will also save energy. So basically, we decided to apply to the securing water for food in order to spread the innovation and to scale up the innovation at national level. What we need is especially to have commercial partners that want to sell the product in Tunisia and in other countries, and institutional partners too. Actually, in Tunisia, we already started with the process for obtaining subsidies from the government. So the Minister of Agriculture is already evaluating the opportunity to subsidize the product. And the real problem we solve, especially in a country like Tunisia, where there are regions that are arid or semi-arid, is to make water use management more sustainable in irrigated agriculture. So if you're interested in being a partner, we will also have the opportunity during the realization, the implementation of the project, to create some informative activities, and we will create some demonstration plots to the farmers in order to make them know the product and to adopt it. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Millions of farmers around the world farm next to rivers or canals. However, when their land is located at an elevation compared to these water sources, they struggle to irrigate their lands. In such situations, farmers opt for various solutions, the most common of which is to use a diesel pump, which is not only highly polluting, but also very expensive and troublesome to operate and maintain. At Akista, we believe there must be a better solution. That is why we are developing a hydropowered irrigation pump that utilizes the energy present in flowing water sources to pump water without using any fuel or electricity. The pump works on a proven scientific principle of spiral pumping mechanism and is able to lift up to 20 meters high, up to 40,000 liters of water a day, which is sufficient to irrigate up to 2 hectares of land and can be scaled up and down. We started the market introduction of the technology from Nepal with the support of Securing Water for Food program. In the past year, we implemented pumps in diverse geographic conditions in Nepal, in mountains, in hills, and in the plains, in rivers of various sizes, as well as in canals. We start from Nepal, but our ambition is to implement the technology at a global scale. In addition to Nepal, we have also implemented the technology in Indonesia and are now looking to demonstrate in Zambia, Turkey, Ecuador, and Spain in the coming months. To be able to implement globally, we need to upscale the production, and we are unveiling the first mass-producible commercial version of our product in this International Water Week at the Aquatech. You can visit us there. Similarly, to upscale the implementation, we start with a demonstration project in a country where we demonstrate the technology with local partners, and eventually move towards local assembly and distribution of the technology. In addition, also developing appropriate financial mechanisms so that we can reach to the farmers. If you are an organization who is willing to partner with us in developing such financial mechanisms, or would like to buy the pump for your project or for your organization working in Nepal or in other countries, please contact us. Thank you.
As we've discussed in detail already this morning, one of the greatest threats to food security in the 21st century are abiotic stresses such as drought, salinity, and extreme temperature. Stand right here. These are all being accelerated by climate change. In 2015, we've seen severe droughts in South Africa, India, my home state of Seattle, Washington, best known for the rain. We've experiencing drought that is expected to last all the way through 2016. My name's Zach Gray. I'm the Vice President of Business Development for Adaptive Symbiotic Technologies. We produce a product, it's a microbial inoculant called BioEnsure that enables plants to adapt to these abiotic stresses. This technology started by AST, was discovered by AST scientists 25 years ago while doing research in geothermal soils in Yellowstone National Park. What they came across was a colony of plants that was able to survive up to 70 degrees Celsius. At that time, 25 years ago, conventional thinking was that there had to be some gene that enabled them, through Darwinian theory, for these plants to survive in there. They did not find any special gene, but what they did find, in each one of those plants existed the exact same fungal endophyte. And when they extracted that endophyte from the plant, it could no longer, and then try to regrow it without the endophyte, it can no longer survive temperatures over 38 degrees Celsius. But we were able to take that same endophyte and put it into other plants and extract those same, or enhance the plants with the same benefits. We have now taken this technology, BioEnsure is now being commercialized in the US, and we're taking this technology to India and to other parts of the world. We're currently looking for partners in areas in which might need this technology to be brought to. If you're interested in testing BioEnsure in your area and you think it might be needed, please contact me. Thank you.
I'd like to thank all the presenters for their excellent presentations, and also want to make sure that we have acknowledged the representative from the Republic of South Africa, the newest member and the fourth member of our partnership. Oh, okay, how's that? I'm sorry. So first of all, I'd like to thank everybody for these great presentations. They were terrific. And I would also like to thank all of the partners who've really sustained this effort now for 3 years, particularly the governments of Sweden and the governments of the Netherlands, but also our newest partner, the government of South Africa. And we are very appreciative that we have this new member in our alliance and believe that the Republic of South Africa's perspective and expertise and experience is going to add a lot to what has been a very successful effort. So from my perspective, representing the United States, we have spent a long time, as have the other members of this alliance in the water sector, looking for ways in which to make a really significant difference. And we are all concerned about what lies on the horizon. We watch these tremendous projections as they relate to growth in population, growth in food production needs, the declining amount of water in aquifers, and they present a very, very significant challenge for mankind. And so what we're hoping will happen as a result of these investments is that, yes, there will be breakthroughs, and at the same time, we hope that there'll be incremental change at the local level that over time will continue to build and build and build and eventually reach scale. I know that many of the people in this room are investors, and I think that what's important to note is the progress that's been made on the first and second rounds of these investments. I mean, they have really been significant. We know that we've already begun a significant breakthrough as it relates to using solar power for the desalinization of brackish water. You know, we've had trials, competitive trials from companies from all over the world in New Mexico at the U.S. government's testing facility for desalinization equipment. We've had some tremendous progress. You've seen the technology which has been displayed today by University of Texas at El Paso, and there are other technologies that came forth in that grand challenge. And we believe there's a very strong chance that there'll be commercialization of at least one of these technologies in late 2016. And for many of us who've been engaged in the water sector, trying to integrate solar and desal at a commercial basis and at a small scale for a long time, in many ways, this is the holy grail. Yet at the same time, we've seen already, progress on significant breakthroughs. I mean, you just got a presentation from Aquista on their work that they've done in Nepal. They've already sold product, and they're really on a good path. And as I looked at each of these and listened to each of these presenters today, I know they're going to pick up the same kind of momentum in the past. So where are we today? We've reached 340,000 people around the world, and we've already been around for a year and a half to 2 years in this process. We've reduced the consumption of water by 400 million liters. We know that just in 2 projects alone, we've increased food production by 2,000 pounds. We know that we've engaged women in really new productive ways through these projects, particularly the work that's been done in practical action and in the engagement of women in the development of crops in areas that were once thought to be completely unsuitable for crop production, particularly the growth of pumpkins in sandbars, in river systems in Bangladesh, when the monsoon has stopped and waters have receded and these large sandy areas have been left. But there are spin-offs and byproducts of this work that you can't necessarily quantify right now, but we will be able to over time. So take the pumpkin project with practical action on the sandbars. What's additionally significant is that these are in fact pumpkins, and they are rich in vitamin A, and they play an enormously critical role in countering river blindness and blindness in that area. And who knows, it may be over time that someone will figure out how to move into food production as it relates to capturing the extract of the pumpkins in a very different way. So we're very, very optimistic about round 3 that you heard about this morning based upon round 1. And that's why I think everybody is here today. It's why we've committed, really significant resources. The governments behind this alliance have contributed $34 million to this, and we seek leverage. So already the $1.7 million we put into the initial rounds, has led to $3.4 million in additional funding. And we like that leverage, but we know there's going to be more and more over time. So I'm really glad that everybody is here today. I'd like to thank all the participants. But I think the most important thing to keep in mind is really the beneficiaries on the horizon. I'm convinced, we all are convinced, that the projects collectively in the first round, the second round, and now the third round will do an enormous amount of good for literally tens of millions of people on this planet, if not more, over time, if we can just keep going on the path we're going on right now, which is good projects, good initial funding, and really strong relationships. Thank you.
Thank you to Chris. Thanks to all the speakers. So we have some additional time, and I want to give the audience a chance, since we have the additional time, to ask some questions of some of the innovators. And so, innovators, if you'll join us up here and allow everyone else to come up with some potential questions, and if you can just pass them out in the audience. So if you've got a question, just raise your hand, and we'll be able to come and give you the chance to use the microphone. And so I'm going to step out of the way so the innovators can answer those questions.
Hi, my question for the innovators is, and any one or more can answer this, what was an unexpected challenge that you didn't see in the beginning but that you're facing now?
Yeah, I can speak to that. I'm with the Affordable Greenhouses. One of the things that we found is that just because you're working with vulnerable populations that need livelihood support doesn't mean that they're great farmers. So we found that we need to either change our model to only target people who already know how to grow things well, or to add considerably more training to our package that we provide along with the greenhouses and the materials. So we decided to take the latter route and not just target great farmers, but really work on bringing up the abilities of others who participate in the program. So that was a surprise for us.
Others? So any of the round one awardees, any challenges you face?
Actually, the great challenge of changing climate. It is changing and adversely affecting every years. In Bangladesh particularly, we have lot of water during monsoon when we don't need water at all. And the challenge is when we need water during crop production, there is less water or no water. So these are the biggest challenges related to changing climate. And we have to address in future how can we best fit these challenges in a right manner for future food security, food production, economic growth, and income for the people. Thank you.
I think one of our greatest challenges is marketing. I'm based in Ghana, and that is our first market. And we've discovered that small-scale farmers don't react to the normal marketing tactics that we would take for granted. Rather, they would rely on the word of mouth of their friends and colleagues. So we're really having to think of innovative ways to reach these people.
I can go as well. One of our biggest challenges when we first started this project was that people in particularly lower income groups that really need our product were very suspicious of plants growing out of paper. It took a lot of convincing that to get people. We were getting to schools and despite the training, realizing that people were tearing open our paper and taking the seed out and planting the seed. And so it was unexpected for us because we had proof that it worked. And so we started doing school gardens to illustrate that this product would actually work without asking people to hand over money before they invested. So we started doing that and then hit another small challenge, which we're working through at the moment, is while schools need gardens to supplement school feeding schemes quite desperately in South Africa, they're really passionate about the garden and they're really passionate about the product. But for quite a few of the schools with the highest need, we also realized they're a little bit more passionate about December holidays. And so we're trying to work around school holidays, people watering the gardens. It's a lot of community engagement, a lot of discussion, and we're adapting as we go.
Thanks, everybody. That was fantastic. Two relatively specific questions. One for practical action. I was wondering if you could just give us a little bit more detail on the actual specifics of the innovation you have or the product that you're offering. I may have missed it, but exactly what you're doing, because it's obviously fantastic, but a little bit more detail there. And the second one was for Zach at AST. I was just interested in where you are on the commercialization of what you're working on, and whether if there are any milestones that that have come around recently that the audience should know about.
Thanks for your question. Actually, number one, what Practical Action is doing. Practical Action, first, innovating technology for the poor, low-cost, affordable, and accessible technology to benefit landless people, those who are displaced as a result of massive river erosion, and taking shelter on the flat protection embankment. And flat protection embankment, they used to migrate to urban areas for selling their job and passing their life. So we are rebuilding their life and resume their life for a better option to live with their children. And secondly, we are educating people in the process of development, sharing our knowledge with relevant agencies and donors to replicate this innovation to benefit other parts in the country and within the country. And thirdly, we are emphasizing graduation of the extreme poor from their poverty level to better life, and also emphasizing nutritional aspect of the development through natural source of production system. So agriculture is not, pumpkin is not only the pumpkin. With the pumpkin, there is a lot of hidden solution. Say for vitamin A solution for the poorer family. We need not to push vitamin A capsule supported by the UNDP. Millions and millions tablet is pushing to the mouths of the children. But we need to get a solution which is naturally addressed. So pumpkin is providing this option to meeting the nutritional demand and great threat of blindness of the child and lactating mother and pregnant women. So we are addressing a lot of issues through this innovation on the ground right now. Thank you.
In regards to commercialization for BioInsure, we've recently agreed to an international distribution deal, and we are registered in the United States. So we'll begin selling our product for the 2016 growing season in the United States. We're currently trying to work on registration in India. We'll soon be entering Argentina and Australia as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much for these very interesting presentations, short and sharp. Actually, the presentation on mobile weather forecasts drew my attention, and you mentioned that the text messages are provided in simple English. And being in West Africa, I wonder what are your plans for simple French messages? Thank you.
You're absolutely right. Simple French messages for the Francophone countries. That's our plan. We are moving into Mali very shortly. So next year we will see those. Okay.
Hi, Saskia Reus, Aqua for All. I was just wondering for the text messaging, there's already Pharmaline in Ghana. How does the innovation relate to that innovation already? Because they also provide messaging to illiterate farmers in, I think it's in the local language.
That's a great question, thank you. So Pharmaline, we know them well. They use weather forecasts from the global providers. The global providers, for instance, the Met Office, and those from the US. And they use very different methods of measuring the weather, which is only applicable to the northern and southern hemispheres. So most of us here, are used to seeing massive weather fronts, hundreds of kilometers along. You can see them coming yourselves. But the weather in the tropics doesn't work like that. You have a beautiful sunny day, you're sitting enjoying your beer, suddenly it's raining. Where did it come from? And that's why we've created a unique algorithm that measures the weather in the tropics. We are the only organization that does this. Okay.
Yes. My question, I'm Chef Ernest, Aqua for All. My question would be, actually the majority of your innovations are very much transforming agriculture as such. So I was interested in how you engage and how you embed with farmer education. Especially, and I'm looking very specifically to Islamic relief. I mean, you are not only transforming the world, you are just putting the world upside down with the pastoralist.
We are bundling agrosolar irrigation technology with agronomist advice, customer financing, and our solution is actually one-stop. It reduces confusion among farmers that come as a result of so many actors in the value chain. So Islamic Relief and Sun Culture are providing a one-stop solution that combines agronomist advice, feedback, and works closely with the farmers, monitoring their farms, helping to develop their skills and capacity to also be able to adopt productive practices in their land. So we shall be close to farmers. We will train farmers themselves to be educators and monitors of each other to ensure that the products that come out of their activities are of good quality and meet standards. Thank you.
Hey, this question is also for the text messaging, weather text messaging group. And it's actually two questions. The first is, can you tell us a little bit more about the innovation in the model? Is it a way of collecting information? Is it a innovation in algorithms or models, or what's different about it? And secondly, if the innovation really is in developing a forecast, I'm curious if you could explain why you've chosen to go direct to farmer rather than sell to Met offices or weather organizations. And I ask that because I know there are challenges, there are barriers to adoption of sort of practices by farmers that many organizations in Ghana have struggled with for a long time. And I know there are opportunities for, there are many donors that are working to support Met offices now that may be interested in this sort of thing.
So we use satellite data. So the CEO who set up the company was in the States at the time working on a NASA project when she realized there was this wealth of data around the equator and it's not being used. So that's why she decided to set up the meteorological company. So it took 15 man-years to create this unique algorithm that determines what the weather will be using over 30 years of past data. And to set up, we set up in Ghana. We are a business, but we call ourselves a social enterprise. So we want to help the people who need it most. We've all got smartphones, we've all got the internet, we have the weather at our fingertips. And with the climate changes, the normal practices that farmers used to use, passed down from father to son, they're no longer relevant because the weather is so different. So they don't have access to the technology and the forecasts that we take for granted. So they now have GPS-specific forecasts, and it's very low cost, and it is for them. And it makes a huge difference to their farming practices.
Just to add to his question, NASA also, what is the level of moisture? They have it, right? Since you got that and reworked the algorithm, why I'm saying this is, ultimately what the plant needs is based on the soil permeability and conditions, not just the rainfall. So therefore, would it not be even more smarter in direct and absolutely serving each customer and each different soil and species if we were to use the NASA data to come up with an algorithmic that helps in telling the farmer how much moisture is adequate or inadequate as of that?
And you're absolutely right. And we do use that data and we do pass that information on to farmers who understand how to use it. But we're talking about the less than 3 hectare farmers. They are often illiterate, they are uneducated, and they won't necessarily know what to do with evapotranspiration, but they do know what to do when it's going to rain. So we have different levels of products for different levels of customer.
Yes, thanks. This is really inspiring, this meeting. What I want to ask is more, it's also business. It's not only innovation. I think we've heard a lot about the innovation. And particularly, for instance, with the experience in Tunisia in trying to get subsidies for it, and maybe some other groups as well. How are you dealing with making the product affordable? Because it's early stage, so there's no mass production yet. On the other hand, you have to get started somewhere to get it on the market.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, actually, I told about the Ministry of Agriculture and the subsidies because in Tunisia we already have a system for subsidies for drip irrigation. The government subsidizes the 60% of the investment you do in drip irrigation. So because of the product is related to drip irrigation too, because if you don't have an irrigation system, you cannot use it. So we will try to connect a little bit the two products, and we hope this will help to have the subsidize. Moreover, what we will need, there was my request before, it will be especially commercial events or to have partnership in the country in order to have the product to be sold. We already have about 200 customers in Tunisia, and Dr. Chabani has already a partnership with an enterprise in Morocco that gives you the opportunity to request the product that is completely made in Tunisia, so you can ask for the product to be imported to other countries. So that's why in the framework of the project we will start now, because it's our first year. We will do commercial events inviting not only the NGOs, other enterprises that maybe could be dealers too, but especially the farmers. And I want to reply before I was asking about the how we can deal with farmers too. It's important. From our experience in other projects, we saw that, especially in Tunisia, if you explain them, if we prove them that really there is a benefit, they will adopt the solution. So that's why we try, especially with training and informative activities, to involve them directly in the adoption of the product and spread the word in order to make the scale up at the country. Thank you.
Also, the question of affordability is very much relevant for us, because we make water pumps, and over the lifetime it's cheaper than using a diesel pump, but when you just compare the initial cost, it is expensive than buying a diesel pump. So how on the one hand, we look into the design and we continuously try to bring the cost down with smart design, with integrated parts, so that the cost can be driven down. On the assembly, we try to move it to the local country so that the assembly costs can be brought down. And on the model itself, so we define it in 3 stages. At the first stage, we only do demonstration where a third party is funding the pump and we demonstrate to the farmers. In the second stage, we only sell to organizational customers, so NGOs, projects, governments, not directly to farmers yet. And in the third stage, then we try to also develop financial models. So sometimes, so instead of trying to sell the pump, trying to sell irrigation service so that people can pay per use and people can rent it out. We do not have completely developed systems on this yet. That's why I also called, if there are organizations who are developing such financing models, we would like to work together, but that's our next step. Thank you.
And speaking as the only one that was talking about producing water using desalination, obviously desalination is a fairly expensive way to produce water, especially for agriculture. So one thing that we're going to be looking at is if we can convince manufacturers to sell us their membranes for substantially less than what they sell in the United States and Europe. That's the hope. The other part is looking into other people that are finding ways to make membranes specifically for electrodialysis processes. Now, MIT, their representative is here, and that is what they're doing. They're working directly with a manufacturer to make membranes for lower cost. We need people to make a very specific kind of membranes that only allow monovalent salts to go through and blocking the hardness salts. Right now, there's only a few companies that make these. They're very good membranes, and so right now what we will do to keep the cost down is going to be training. These membranes will last a very long time if they're treated properly, so we will focus heavily on educating and training our farmers. So we will do our pilot next year. I guess stay tuned.
I just want to go back to a question that was raised by a colleague here, talking about overturning the world for the pastoralists, and that applies to my project also. It is for pastoralists to change their lifestyle of nomadic movement to a settled environment. That can be a challenge. But with the time, like you said, with climate change and the scarcity of food and the pastures, more pastoralists are becoming more sedentary. And so that, to me, is a good intervention. In our case, we are introducing fish farming totally out of the natural system and growing it within the household, in the veranda you saw according to the picture, meaning that the culture, the tradition, we are demystifying the culture of accessing fish from the lakes. So it's no longer getting fish from natural water systems. You can actually get fish from your own aquarium, if I can call it that way. Thank you.
Once again, can we get a round of applause for the innovators for their time and their presentations today? As speaking for the Netherlands, United States, now South Africa, our newest founding partner, and Sweden, we are extremely proud of the work that these innovators are doing, what the innovations are proposing, how they're changing the game over time. What we thought when we started this program is that 1 out of 10 of these innovators would be successful. What we found was at the end of the first year, we've got about 75% of them really meeting their targets and milestones to move on to the second year, which astounded us, and we are really proud of the work that they've done. And so if you have some time afterwards and you're interested in a specific innovator or an innovation, please feel free to talk to them. We're going to take a few pictures because we don't get together very often, and we're excited about that. But please feel free to talk to them while they're here and so they can share their stories and their innovations with you. But thank you for your time today, and have a great afternoon.